Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the RangerRob Country Living Podcast. Yes, sir, Bob. And we're really glad to have you here. Got to fix the on screen real quick. Got it fixed. All right. So we got Dale Wiley with us today, and John Smith from the Backyard Politics Show. And did I say it right, John? It's
You did.
Backyard Politics, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so good to see. He's down in Arizona. He's been such a great supporter. Always has some great things to bring on the table. He follows, I don't want to use the politics so much, but the news of things that affect us. And so he's always a great resource. So we're really glad to have him. Now, before we do get started, I need to let you know you can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, a whole bunch of other things I can't remember. And our main platform is Spreaker, and all those links down below. And you can also listen to us on your Alexa. So moving right along, first of all, thank you guys so much for being on the show. Great to have you. And by the way, Dale, you got a wonderful looking hat.
Look at that. Look at that thing.
You're a hunk of burning love.
That is awesome. Nice guy gave that to me.
Yeah, then that same nice guy gave me some little plants, and I forgot to take them home. So sorry about that.
Oh, there's plenty more.
Yeah. So, John, how you been lately?
I've been good. I've been kind of doing my own thing. I haven't been out on YouTube or even recording any podcasts recently. I've just been really focused on, I guess, like we talked off air, a little bit more about my spiritual health. And, I know a lot of people are talking about the mental health that, they're focused on their mental health. I think my mental health is fine. My spiritual health needed some grooming. So I've been taking a break from a lot of the politics, and so here I am. I'm back. I have been invited onto your show, and I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate it, Rob.
Yeah, and we well, you really get into some of this stuff real deep, and of course, I live in my studio door open with the dogs barking. Anyway, we have the same thing. We get a lot of things that can really bring us down, and whether it's in with being self-sufficient, all that stuff. So we're trying to report all the positive things of how you could fight back or live a good life, and knowing that we're surrounded by things trying to take us down. So we're all on the same path here. I think we're all trying to find how do you live with this stuff? How do you mentally deal with it, and spiritually? And trust me, the spiritual side is powerful. If you want to feel better about life, no matter what's going on, that's the way to go. But this is not really the right show for that. But yeah, we highly recommend it. So yeah, pick up the good old book once in a while. Sit back and get your head in order. That's the best thing we could tell anybody. So, but today, as you saw in our title, is Sir Dale Wiley up there in top, right next to me. He is amazingly doing something this weekend that is legendary. Totally legendary. You're going to be in the Crooked River Ranch farmers market this weekend. And you've had some stuff in the past that you've done that's similar to this, but this is the first time you've actually done one in the Central Oregon area. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've got probably several hundred under my belt over the years in various locations, but yeah, this is the first one that we've done here in Central Oregon. A little smaller population base, so we're gonna wait and see what happens. Not supposed to have the best weather on our opening day.
Yeah, I saw that.
What the hell's new, type of thing. So we'll deal with it.
I have tons and tons of questions for you about that, but we're going to play a video first of last week. I went to your house, and I brought the camera over, and I went through your setup. So I wanted everybody to have a chance. I cut the piece out of when I did the tour, and I wanted to show that to everybody, so everybody has a good idea what Dale's doing. And then we can hit them up with all the questions after you guys so nothing beats a visual. So let's start off with your video. You guys ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Like a greenhouse. So now he's got a high tunnel.
Yeah, high tunnel, tube, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Watch your head in here.
No problem. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at this, people.
Yeah.
Holy moly,
We
this
got
is awesome.
a whole bunch of stuff, and it goes all the way on down here. Obviously, we
Look at that.
got lettuce. There's what people can do with lettuce. That's how easy it is to grow salad.
Yeah.
Right there. Each one of those bowls will give you a couple salads a week for at least 3
Yeah.
months.
And that's all tomatoes.
It's all tomatoes in here.
You're able to keep it warm enough in here for them?
Not really. Not really. They're not. Tomatoes
Wow.
like it a lot warmer than I've been keeping it, but you know, it's just
You're
Central
getting
Oregon.
dang serious around here.
Oh yeah, no, we used to do this for a living, so.
Yeah.
And then we got a
Wow.
bunch of different. This is flowers,
Yeah.
and some native perennials and everything.
Very
so.
nice, guys.
We had to put this up because the quail are coming in,
Yeah.
getting into the beds, and
This, I didn't even think about covering these to turn it into a high tunnel situation.
Well, you know, I mean,
How nice, how versatile. So just once again, guys, if you looked at the video when we visited Dale's place again, he had this all open, and I didn't even comprehend the fact that you could cover it and turn it into a high tunnel. What an amazing design. So try to go back to our old video and look how he built these. It's a great idea. I like the versatility.
yeah, there's just a bunch of 2x6s and everything, and this
Yeah.
stuff will all be here until we're done utilizing it as a greenhouse operation.
Yeah.
And then after that, the plastic is coming off the mats coming up off the beds, and we're going to plant right into the beds just like normal.
Yeah, so if you hadn't
Double
noticed
duty.
in here, these are also above ground gardens. So right now he's just setting stuff on top of it. But as soon as he's done with that, then this comes off, and then he's got a whole regular season growing to do. So that's a clever design. I like it.
And then down there with those plants, we'll sell most of those. That's a bunch of dirt down there. That fabric will come up. There's a little piece around the corner that we'll plant some corn on. I don't know what I'm going to plant there yet
Yeah.
or anything, but it's just utilizing very small spaces,
Yep.
making that space work for you 2 or 3 different times over the course of a year. You know, in this small little backyard operation here.
That's the point to this channel, guys.
Yeah.
I know I've got 5 acres and you got 2 acres.
2
here.
acres, yeah.
And it's like you don't need it. You just
No.
if you got some sun, you got some areas that you can grow. You can use
You know.
uniqueness like this. This is
We're
amazing.
about 70 feet across and about 40 feet to the house. So
Yeah.
not a whole lot of square
This is
footage here.
this is. If I was in Mesa, this would be actually bigger than my backyard it was in Mesa.
Yeah.
But this is a typical backyard, guys. And look at, I mean,
We
this could
haven't
be
even-
your house right there. Look at that. Uh-oh, I think I unplugged you.
We haven't even begun to utilize all this space.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, you know, I thought I'd put another huge bed out there, but where would the dog light and everything at that point in time? And then, oh, that's more work than I really want to do this year. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, this is amazing stuff. So that's why it's really good to just go see what people are doing, and especially how they're saving space and making a killing. So there you go.
Hey,
You guys are doing a little square dancing there. You guys moved on the screen.
I moved around. Well, I locked up right when the video started, so I was scrambling
Oh, okay.
to reset and everything. So.
Yeah. So that's quite an operation you got there going there, Dale.
You know, I mean, for a small space type of a thing, utilization and everything, it's an experiment. I'm just trying, you know, and it's an experiment. I'm building some content and everything else, and I'll probably take this into, you know, some kind of teaching venue or something like that, and you know, see if I can help some people out with it and everything. Because I mean, there's factors here you look at. I mean, I'm an older person. I'm not as spry as I'd like to be. You know, and I can produce some crops here up to a limit, and so everything is always kind of taken into consideration, your own personal physical limitations and the ability to, you know, execute it and be a good steward of everything that's going on. So we'll see. I mean, this may not happen next year either, because this definitely has tied me down just a little bit more than I want to. A greenhouse operation. Yeah, I had a doctor's appointment. I was gone for 3.5 hours the other day, and that 84-degree day, she got pretty dry down there. So we'll make some changes there, add a little bit more irrigation, automatic, and everything to give us a little bit more freedom and everything. But the idea here is that pretty much everything will be either sold or planted into our own cropping operation, were at that point in time donated or given away. Basically, people need to grow their own food.
Yeah. John, are you doing anything yet?
Nothing yet. I am still going to bashes.
We keep trying to give them on the show and inspire them to do something in that backyard in Mesa.
Well, we're in the process of possibly moving soon, so we don't
Ooh.
want to get anything started and then end up moving.
Yeah.
We're looking to move kind of southwest, and so if we
Southwest.
move, though, one of the things, the non-negotiables, is that we do have some property where we can put in a small chicken coop, maybe raise 6 or 7 hens, and have a small greenhouse and do a little bit of hydroponics type stuff. So
Yeah.
that's the future. It's just a matter of finding the right place. So
Yep, it's hard, especially right now. And
boy.
I can't get over how many videos I'm seeing right now of people moving to the country and buying homesteads, and a lot of younger folks between 30 and 40, they're hitting it. They're some of them are figuring it out, and it's amazing how some of the young adults of that age group are going backwards. They're not going backwards, going back to old time talent, old time techniques, old traditions. They want to learn it, and that's so good to see. I can't tell you enough that they're embracing what our grandmothers and grandfathers used to do, and that's so nice to see. Obviously, it's a unique amount of people, but it'd be nice to be more of them, of wondering where your food comes from and wondering what's in your food and all that stuff. So, but before I go much further, I do have a couple of questions. And John, if you got something you want to ask Dale, I'm going to kind of try to stay on subject a little bit, and then us guys, we'll go off somewhere. But one of the first things is how far back did you have to start to get all those plants ready for this weekend? So when did you start, and what kind of things did you have to do before you could even start to get all those plants going?
Well, you got to make sure you kind of got a plan as to what you're going to do and everything. And there again, this is a unique situation. I'm always kind of a big fan of knowing what your limitations are. Isn't that a Clint Eastwood thing or something like that? And not exceeding those limitations and abilities. And so, we looked at this thing, decided kind of how we do this. How are we going to do this? What are we going to use for propagation? What are we going to use for growing this stuff out? We had a pretty good idea and everything. So we went along pretty good. We used a peat pellet starting system on the seeds. So the seedling phase, we seeded everything up into the one greenhouse. We seeded it up, ended up about 2,000, seedlings of different sizes and everything. And at that point in time, then we realized we needed a little more room. So we threw that hillbilly plastic greenhouse setup that you saw on there. And, and okay, if any of my friends see this and see that greenhouse, knowing the kinds of greenhouses that I've owned in the past with the big fans, and you just kind of open the doors in the morning and that's all you have to do, go around water. This one's been problematic. That wind was pretty snappy today. It's popping things around, and it's old man hillbilly construction, but it's doing the job. It's keeping the plants warm and getting them out there. And so those 6 raised beds are completely full of vegetative materials of various sorts like that. We've got about another 1,500 seedlings in the greenhouse waiting for those beds to clear out, hopefully from the sale and some of this stuff. And in greenhouse crops, basically, it's a timing situation. You've got to have that stuff ready. And if you haven't got it ready to sell or do something with in a 5 to 7 day window, then you're going to be dumping some stuff. And you always dump stuff like that. So we did that, went through the seedling phase, taking care of them. Then we went through our potting and transplanting phase and everything, mixed our own soils, potted that stuff up, got it out. And we're just kind of in a little maintenance mode here, revising the drip irrigation system on it so that we get some water and we can actually leave for 4 to 5 hours a day and everything. So that's kind of what it took to get it started. Well, buying seeds
now,
and everything.
Even though you're doing high tech and redneck stuff, I've got to ask this question: is how did you well, how do you determine the cost and of what it costs you to do all this, and how do you determine the price retail wise?
To determine the cost, I mean, it's just like inputs into any other business. I mean, we're dealing with some units here and everything. And so basically, we look at what our sales unit is going to be. And those are going to be, $10, $11 pots and 3.5-inch pot types of things. And so we know how much the seedling costs. We know how much the pots cost. We know how much the soil costs and everything else. And like all true farmers, we don't pay ourselves much of anything until we actually sell the crop. And so the chances of me getting stiffed on this deal are pretty good in a lot of cases and everything, and so you're trying to make some money back. So I just look at it, I establish what this is going to cost, how many units I've got. Then I look at the retail price and everything that's down there. I want to be a little bit under that retail price. I don't have some of the overheads and everything as much that the larger growers do. But there again, you're not going to produce commercial quantities of greenhouse crops in Central Oregon. It's not going to happen. The weather just is not going to allow you to do that in any kind of a form. So a lot of this stuff is coming over. We're looking at being, maybe 25, 30% under what the local box stores are and everything else like that. Then that puts us, I've got about $1,300 in material into this thing. Right now, I'd like to get that material completely back, plus another $200 to $2,500. So I'll make it's nothing. It's not huge money by any means. I'll make a little bit. I'll make like $2 an hour for my labor or something like that. It's farming.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So that's kind of how it is. It's farming, man. You put something in a crop and you hope you can sell it and make money on it. That's just all it is.
Yeah. So how are you going to transport all that stuff I saw in that video to the market?
Oh, it's not all going down there. We've got to select them out. They'll just go in the back of the pickup, and I'll throw a tarp over the top of them or something like that. My wife's will take our car with some gear in it. And we don't know whether we're inside or outside at this farmer's market. I kind of prefer to be outside and everything because we kind of got our own little thing set up with our table and our our booth and everything else. And, there again, this is just if I can pick up $2,000 to $2,500, fine. I know I won't sell it all, and I've got some people that I actually went to school with and everything that live close to me here and everything. I give them some away, and then they've got that food bank and everything else, and so I'll give it away before I'll dump it, basically, type of thing.
So actually brings me into what items are needed to actually do a farmer's market. And I really don't know these things. So, by the way, welcome, George.
Yeah, hi, George. It's not too much. I mean, these guys down here, they run it sometimes in the building, and most of them, whatever product or everything else is doing. You have a table or something like that. I mean, normally, we'll have an 8x10 canopy, a table, some pots, some boards that we'll set, boards to put the plants on and everything like that. And so it doesn't take a lot. You just kind of want to be organized and everything else. And so we'll do that. We'll have our banner up for our photography business. That picture over my shoulder will be for sale down there and some other stuff like that. And so we kind of try to, get a little bit of everything out of it. So it's something we can put together fairly quickly and easily, and there again, it just comes back to me being a limited ability old man that you make sure that it works for what you're capable of executing, at that particular moment in time.
I'd be kind of curious, like when I was in Mesa, we had 2 seasons. We had a spring season and we had a winter season. It'd be really interesting to see how the farmers markets work down south because their seasons are so different than ours.
Yeah, I think those are probably, I mean, it's just going to be a flip season of what ours are and everything. I mean, I was down in Vegas building golf courses years ago and everything, and I thought it's pretty cool. It's wintertime down there, man. There's car shows and everything else going on. There's all kinds of things to do and everything. And I thought, I'd be freezing my ass off up here in Oregon this time of the year, dodging snow pellets and everything like that. But, in our business, or what we're doing here is, quasi cottage type of a thing. We started the plants on March 15th. And basically it's an experiment. I started, I think I started March 1st last year, too early. March 15th is probably a little bit too early too. So if I do this on any kind of a scale next year, and of any scale, I'll probably back that up to like April. So yeah, I mean, and with the weather we've had and everything, I've been pretty lucky. I've been able to keep everything warm. Had a couple of pretty close nights there when in the seedling stage. I had some pretty sorry ass looking tomatoes and everything overnight. So I was kind of looking at doing the one down at the old fire hall there, Carol, on Crooked River Ranch.
Yeah, she's up at the Pine area.
No, this is Carol Orr. This is Carol Orr. She's here on the ranch.
Oh, this is Carol. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm thinking the gal at Lapine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of, and we're close by. If we run out of stuff, I mean, we're a couple miles away. I can run home and, throw some more stuff in. And this is not as high tech. And
you can run over to my house and steal stuff out of my hydroponics.
Yeah, I mean, we'll sell them anything, and everything. And so it's kind of interesting because, I was looking at this. I like growing the stuff. I've grown all my own stuff like this. I don't know if I like it as this kind of a business that much at this age and everything. It's like economy. It's like economy of scale. I mean, I should just go all in on this. Spend $20,000 on a greenhouse. No, I'm too old for that. Not going to do that. I'm more interested in the experiences and the way I'm documenting this thing, because this vision that's coming into my head of some kind of a teaching platform seminar mechanism. And I mean, and John talked about doing the hydroponics, and I mean, you're doing them and everything. And so this is all kind of starting to come together in my head a little bit as to how we could bring this concept and idea out to people on, obviously online, but we could do, local seminars or something like that, because people need to understand how to do this stuff on a small scale. They need to how to replicate at least 30%. It's a hell of a lot of work, George. 30%, if you can get 30% of your vegetables, and you're not going to get everything, but it's just, it's one little part, one little element of being prepared for everything else that's going on. Don't tie all your time up in it, just like you don't want to tie your time up in everything else, and so, to the best of your abilities, I guess, is the best thing to say.
Yeah, it's like, with my fiber optics, my hydroponics, wrong career. For example, I was over at the assisted living the other day, and a bunch of guys in there started yak with me before I went to go see my mother-in-law. And I told them about hydroponics, and they're all excited. Like, I couldn't leave the place. I had to tell stories, And I was thinking, wouldn't that be cool to teach a little class, bring in one of those totes, maybe a 28-gallon tote, and then convert it to a hydroponics growing thing at the class, if I taught a class, and literally leave it there and let the folks at the assisted living or a school or whatever have their first hydroponics. Would cost very little money, and they could start out growing some lettuce or whatever they want. Yeah. And I just think that'd be so fun. At the same time, you'd be teaching people how to grow stuff without even being outdoors. You put a grow light on it, you don't even need the outdoors. So yeah, it's amazing. So I think of that too. I'd love to teach, and I think we all have a little bit of teaching background, and yeah, it's kind of a dream of mine too. So one of these days we'll get together and maybe we can pull something off on the ranch, or maybe maybe we do something with some of these organizations around here that could, or schools would be so cool to teach kids how to do hydroponics and how to grow things and how to make money at a farmer's market and that kind of stuff. So I do have a couple more questions on this though.
Hey,
how long do you have to be in this market? Can I jump in
real quick?
What's that? Oh, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in real quick and kind of expand on something. Ranger Rob had asked you, Dale, how you planned on transporting everything to the farmer's market. And I think you ought to just build a flatbed trailer with your whole greenhouse on it and just tow it there.
You might have to do that.
I mean, think about it. You could build like a hydroponics trailer with a grow light running off a generator, and you could haul that thing anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, You sound like you know me pretty well, John, because I've done some crazy shit like that in my day before.
He would do it.
Yeah, I mean,
and
you got
everything.
the pickup truck to pull it.
Oh,
All
yeah.
you got to do is build the trailer, throw a few axles
Yeah.
underneath it.
Yeah, gosh,
Well,
all
you know,
your spare time.
Fortunately for me, I do have a flat deck trailer. I do have a box trailer, you know, and all
Well,
this.
there you go.
This
What
other
are you
stuff.
waiting for, Dale?
It's too damn much work. That's what I'm waiting for. Yes. I want this thing to be easy. You know,
Oh my God.
I'm not a 40-year-old guy that'll work all day, you know, and drink beer all night, and do it all over again tomorrow. That's
So John doesn't realize that you and I are just trying to entice him, so he starts building all this stuff, and you and I just sit in some lawn chairs and drink beer and say, "Hey, you missed something, John."
Yeah. You know, I will do an episode of me building my mobile greenhouse. So just wait for that.
Good. Yeah, we could all
You know
learn
what?
from that.
Do you know what happens to large plastic or carbonite or any of that other stuff when you put it up like that, haul it down the highway at like 60 miles an hour?
We'll take back roads, Dale.
Nothing good happens. I can guarantee you that. I can leave it right there.
Oh my gosh. So I do have some more questions. Like, okay, so what kind of furniture and stuff are you taking? Do you have to have extra cash and change for people?
Oh yeah, I mean,
credit cards?
No, credit cards. Hell no, I don't take credit cards. I mean,
That's what we do.
you know, I mean, I could, you know, we have it for our photography business and everything because that kind of demands a little higher level. But I mean, you know, there again, you know, Diane's got a list right here next to our order form and everything. My dear wife is organized like that. She's got everything in there. So I mean, we've got the canopy, table, 2 chairs, for pens and markers, an apron, change, which we'll have to go to the bank and get some tomorrow, some info sheets to hand to the people that give them a little bit of culture and ideas and what works with us. Business cards, labels, you know, I mean, that kind of stuff.
I was going to ask you, did you make business cards or labels? Also,
you know, we just basically use the ones from our photography business and everything, because I mean, there again, you know, we're talking about maybe a $3,000 gross operation here, and if I net 2,000 out, that's fine. That's not enough money to start throwing into business cards and postcards and everything else for something I may not do next year.
Because I was gonna ask you, once you get rich and famous from all this, are you still going to be willing to do a podcast with us?
Oh, you know, I was in the greenhouse. We did this for a living and everything, part of our nursery and everything else. And there again, it just comes down to something. It's an elemental agricultural production. It is the lowest level of commerce that you can possibly be in, just by the fact that you're taking soil, you're planting stuff into soil, and you're hoping this thing grows, that the slugs don't eat it, that you don't, you know, freeze a greenhouse out at some night or another like that. So, you know, to try and do this on any kind of a scale. And so this might work, but I mean, there again, I'm trying to come up with this concept of how to make this easier for people to do in their own backyards and their own back patios and everything. And, you know, and this is my thought today. You know, I mean, you invite me on here and I got to take this shit off George like this. I just don't understand.
We've had George on the show, haven't we?
I know. He's a good guy. You know,
I was like, George is down there in Texas killing everything, so I don't know what he's joking with us for.
I don't know. I saw something like 95 degrees down there tomorrow or something. Well, I mean, John's in Arizona too. I mean, we're freezing our ass off up here still.
I think George is filling up his kerosene can and using that as a watering can. That's probably the problem.
I don't know what he's doing down there.
You know, and so.
Oh, he's married now, so he can't tend to plants anymore.
Yeah. You know, so it's a difference. I mean, this is kind of, you know, last year was just a hobby, a big garden and some everything else like this. And so I kind of expanded this out. You know, I guess I needed some time to fill or something. But to me right now, I think generating the content and the process and the interactions with some people and everything else, I think it's probably going to be more of a brand building thing from me from here on out, that I can leverage that off into some kind of, you know, a teaching, learning platform type of a situation and get my income that way.
Yeah.
versus, going out here and just labor. I'm just not a good, I mean, I'm okay and I'm in decent shape and I function and everything else like that. But I still know that it's best not, if you feel so horrible and in pain at the end of the day, you did something wrong during the day type of thing.
We ought to
Yeah,
rename
I,
this the Wine and Bitch Fest podcast.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
would, I absolutely. We got these old guys on here and all you just sit here and talk about, oh shit, I feel like shit, you can get some
Back
pretty
in
good
my
rap.
day.
Oh yeah, type of thing. But and Rob brought that up. That there's a segue. I mean, I wasn't following that track, and he's talking about these younger people that are getting into these kinds of situations and looking at this. And I know some of them. My son is quite a homesteader. I mean, he's an MBA, high tech employee and everything else. But that's kind of how it is. He's got 10 acres over there in the valley. He's got a really nice operation going on and everything. And I mean, and that's a small slice of those people out there right now, because the reasons they're having to learn it is because their normal patterns of going out to eat and purchasing and everything else are going to be sorely disrupted here over the next, 6 months to a year. And so, they better figure this out because their options are pretty limited as to how that's going to go in the future, in my opinion. Anyway.
So, I do have it's went blank. I had a question for you, and it's like, woo. Anyway, well, first of all, we're just trying to figure out why George is killing things down in Texas. Apparently, it's just he doesn't have enough rattlesnakes in his yard or something. I don't know what it is, but
I think he's
that's the only
watering
thing I
his
can tell
plants
you.
with Roundup.
Is that what's going on? What's this one? Key change of people usually don't keep cards.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Swag. I use keychains back in my equipment sales days. Absolutely, it was something that people had to go in and pick up every day if they were going to use a key or something to start somebody. Yeah, great point.
Yeah. We'll have to start getting some Dale swag. Enough of this RangerRob stuff.
Like I said, that could be part of the brand. I keep at, and this goes through my head all day. Do I want to do another brand at 64 years old and everything? And I've done brands, I've done the marketing and everything else, and I start into it and I'm going, God, that was just a pain in the ass. That took a lot of work, type of thing.
Yeah.
But I still think with the way things are headed and everything, I probably will, do a brand build of some kind here to, at least
you have any coyotes up there?
I got coyotes all over the place. Just can't shoot them around here.
Okay, but they poop too, right? You could come up with Wiley Coyote poopy bags.
Oh, there you go.
Then I'd be cutting in on Rob's act. That is a good idea. I am going to write that.
Sounds like a bunch of crap to me.
Yeah, because back in when I was in high school, a couple of guys, I mean, they became lifelong friends and everything, and they were Hispanic dudes, like third or fourth generations, and they dubbed me Wiley Coyote, and I just never, look at this, just no shame there at all. And everything, and that name kind of stuck, you know what I mean? And I loved it, so that's not a bad idea.
There you go. There you go. I think Rob needs to come out with maybe some pig poopy bags.
That's right. Well, actually, I use my bags to get eggs. I'm not kidding you. I'll get out to the chicken hatch and go, crap, I forgot the basket. I just reach in my back pocket, grab a RangerRob poopy bag, grab my eggs. I'm telling you, they're versatile. They're versatile.
Well, those are yours. Diane split them up, put them in our cars. We kept a couple in the back door here and everything.
You would be so amazed what you'll use poopy bags for once you have them available. Oh my gosh, just dozens of things that just you don't even think of, and suddenly you go, oh, I got a bag in my pocket. And so there you go. Or you just go around all your neighbors and pick up their poop. You'd be it makes you quite neighborly.
And they'd also wonder about you too.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like around here, you go wandering onto somebody else's property, they better know about it.
Yeah. We have guns here.
Yeah.
So John, you're in your 40s, is that right?
I turned 50 this year, Bob.
Oh man, you're getting old. But anyway, when I was in my 40s, that was my favorite decade. the 40s. And I actually had a game bird farm yet, and I was here, but I didn't do even a fraction of what I'm doing now. And I had the energy then. And I just feel like I wasted years before. And suddenly here I am in my 60s now. And now I'm trying to stoop on the ground, lay fiber things on fabric weave on the ground. And it's like, I feel like I got to get a cell phone to get my wife to come out and help me get up. And it's like, it's hard. But I do, this does bring up a good point though, is whatever kind of growing you're going to do, just forecast it as far as getting old. So, I mean, for example, you guys see on our channel right now, we built 8 above ground garden beds, and they're tall. They're really tall because it took everything in the world. I had to go steal stuff from our neighbors just to fill them in. I put cars, Volkswagens, anything I could get into my growing bins just to fill them up. But anyway, so the idea is, the older we get, the less we want to be stooping and on our knees and stuff. And we want our garden right at our waist level so we can actually still do gardening even when we're in our 70s or 80s. If we make it that far. Depends if I can actually sell enough poopy bags. So anyway, so I just still think that's a very good subject that you should always focus on. Is we want everybody to grow. And what was this question? Ranger, what don't you do? Candles, poo bags. I don't have a famous radio show like John. That's one of the big things. John's got an awesome show, by the way. But I surround myself. This is what I do. I surround myself with brilliant people. Dale, John, George, all you guys have really good stuff. And so, yeah, that's my secret. I don't do a damn thing. I just hang around with smart people.
You know what a successful businessman does? He hires people a lot smarter than he is.
Yeah, that's kind of what we try to do here. So, no, I guess what the point is, and that's what I want to do with the show. And that's, and I think all of you guys are this way, are people that are John's. I can see you're kind of reforming things. You kind of get your life in order and thinking about things you want in the future. And Dale, you're going from one thing and downsizing it and fixing to match your age bracket and how you're feeling and all that stuff. Same here. You and I have the same concerns. It's like, I can't do that like 20 years ago. And so I've got to do things that fit my age and stuff. So anyway, it's just all good stuff. And having the different age brackets on the show really helps. But Carol, thank you for the nice compliment. I saw a picture of her on Facebook with some guy that she was debating with. I don't know what that was all about, but it was. That was the guy.
That was the guy who was giving her the claw.
Oh, the claw.
That was the claw.
That's right.
Yeah, that was my Arnie von Steiger Portland wrestling 50 years ago reference. Yeah.
Yes. So I do want to switch channels on one thing real quick, is since we got John here, but. So, John, is there any room left in Arizona for people to live down there with all those immigrants coming over the border?
Oh man, not only the immigrants, but the California people. Oh. I'll tell you, they're flooding they're just coming across into Arizona like crazy.
Really?
We have I live in the far east valley, east Mesa, and when I moved here 15 years ago. Dale, boy, it came to my turn and he couldn't handle my part of the show. He ducked out.
I know. I tell you. Anyway, he's
rude.
He's been locking up again, so he just comes on and comes back on. So we're used to him doing that. He's like a ghost.
But in all honesty, we have just in my area, they just announced another 10,000 homes that are going to be going in between Apache Junction and Florence and all that open desert. No, they're just loading this valley full of tens of thousands of homes. It's just, and we already have a water shortage. You've seen that all over. I'm sure
I've been
all
watching that close.
The reservoirs are lower than they've ever been, and we just continue to build more and more and more homes. And all of these homes, of course,
that's an incredible number of homes, though.
It's unbelievable.
And what's stupid about it is you guys don't have water. The reservoir, the Lake Mead is insane right now. Lake Powell is devastated. And it's like, I don't know how they just keep kind of like pushing the can down the road a little or kick it down the road. And it's like, I don't think they're going to be able to do that much longer. I don't know what you guys are going to do.
No, and we're, potentially, one or two bad, drought seasons away from a real crisis. And yet they're just continuing to move all of these people into this valley. And it's just, it's in, what's the word? We're not going to be able to, handle it infrastructure wise and water wise. It's just not going to happen. And so that's why my wife and I are looking into options. We're thinking, is there a better way to go? Is there a better place to go? Is there something that makes sense? Perhaps, land with an aquifer or whatever it's called underneath. We can dig a well so we can have water. We're not going to be concerned about that. So there's a lot of things going on in the state of Arizona that have me concerned, not just politically, but, things that people from both sides of the aisle should be worried about. And water is definitely one of those.
Yeah, just last week I was looking at the new levels of mead, insanely low. And Lake Powell, I had a boat when I lived down there, and we used to go to Lake Powell with it. Mm-hmm. All the ramps we ever used are now decommissioned. They're not even going to the water anymore. Yeah. And that's only in a 2 to 3 year span. That's insane. So I don't know what they're going to do down there. And then with the lake, the city of Page, they're talking about shutting off, and they're right next to the water, shutting off their power and the water to the city of Page. And it's like, they're right next to the dam. It's like, and I'm sure that's going to devastate the Indian reservation up there too. So that's not good. So,
the reservations, they have a serious water problem. In fact, I stay in contact with a couple guys from what's the name of that town up there? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's one of those Indian reservation towns up there. They have no water. They're trying to build water old water towers on top of mountains so that they can collect rainwater and run it into their town and stuff like that. Via gravity and that type of stuff. Tuba City
and like they get so much rain, right?
Yeah, they just don't. And here's the problem too. California has been taking a lot of water out of the Colorado River. They have no reservoir system over in Colorado. They refuse to, California. They refuse to build reservoirs over there to keep and maintain water. So they just continue to take hours and take hours and take hours. And it's just, it's going to be a crisis in the next couple of years unless we really start getting more rain in the monsoon seasons, which we're praying for. But if it doesn't happen, what are we going to do?
Yeah, and what really gets to me is like here in Oregon, we got these beautiful mountains. If you've ever been up here, John ever comes to visit us, we got these we have like 7 beautiful mountains, and then right now they got snow on them, but not enough. And they're already rationing the water here for all of our farmers. And they're already doing some proactive things to ration. And I don't actually even hear that kind of talk down south where you are. It's like,
well, you've never heard it down there in California, in any of those areas. California just went and took whatever they needed before, from Arizona or whatever. In California and all the other Western states, they've all had the ability to impound naturally occurring surface rainwater and everything. They just chosen or not been able to do it due to environmental regulations and everything else like that.
That's right.
Coming into the crises that you're in, and I've thrown this out a couple times. My son's a supervisor at the local Redmond, Oregon Water Department. The minute people start irrigating their grass, the water usage goes up 5 to 7 million gallons a day. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'm a big turf guy. I used to build courses and sports fields and grow it and everything else. I get it, but you got to stop watering all this grass. I mean, that will solve 50% of your infrastructure problem, because you're not going to build any new dams or impoundments of any kind, probably anywhere on the West Coast. You've got the reduced rainfalls coming in like that, and you've got bad infrastructure that they never looked at, the billions of gallons of level 3 treated wastewater that they haven't figured out an infrastructure for. And I mean, down there in Arizona, they do a good job zero escaping on the freeways and everything. I think it looks pretty dang good. You just, you gotta to build a new water plant, I mean, to drill a well here and really, Rob talks about our area here, just up to the southwest of us, towards the mountains, actually. Um, my son's girlfriend's parents live there, and they're on what's called the Deschutes Aquifer, and their well was 400 and some odd feet deep, and it started sucking air the other day. So they had, they had to have somebody cut the well drillers guys come out, pull the pump and all this other stuff, and just start punching down. And they had to go another, 169 feet or something like this. Now this Deschutes Aquifer is the one that everybody's been tapped into in the Central Oregon area. Somebody could tell me how big it is. The guy here at our local water department says the water is 60 years old that's coming out of this aquifer and everything. But when you see those aquifers dropping by that much, and wells, it's $35,000 to drill like a 300-foot well and everything. So it's not cheap by any means or anything. So, the good old American people have done it to themselves on this water thing and everything else. They failed to take the actions and everything else that have been needed to make this thing cost effective. And instead, we're just going to, create an undermanufactured crisis that's going to create complete chaos as a result.
That's right. We had 50,000 people moving from California to Arizona every year. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. And I mean, you can look at this thing and I mean, you can't tell me these people are stupid and they don't know. I was involved with school district finance for a number of years over in the Valley. And, we had some pretty good matrix and everything else like that. And for every family, for every housing unit that you're going to have in your city, that's 1.7 kids that's going to impact the school district system. There's like 250 houses under construction in our area now, with another 750 some odd units in development application. And my son says he has no idea where they're going to get the water for all these places. And these brilliant people down here at these planning departments and these government agencies, they just keep slapping approved stamps on all these applications and everything and collecting their money. So yeah, you cannot keep adding people like that with those kinds of consumption streams and not expect there to be problems. And I mean, we're getting to critical mass on some of this stuff. It's just not simple. They've talked about it for a long time. Well, it's just another element of our whole shit hit the fan situation that we're in, basically.
Yeah. No time,
Jack Walsh,
John State's going to be blue.
Yeah, it will be soon. Jack Walsh, he said if the powers that be wanted it to rain, it could be achieved. And here's the thing. We talked about Southern California specifically. When it rains over there, the water just hits the drains and runs into the ocean. They never collect it. They don't do anything to support their own infrastructure, and they keep relying on other states to do it. And someone eventually has to say no. And that's why when it comes to voting for the right people, these are things that you really got to focus on. Stop focusing on what's going on in the national politics scene.
Yeah.
Because that's all
distraction.
It's all distraction. You got to find out who is running for mayor of Arizona, or not mayor, but governor of Arizona. And is this person, what do they stand for? Yep. Are they going to tell California to go pound salt? Are they going to stop the illegal immigration and the immigrants from just coming over into this? Because listen, those people need water too. And no offense, but stay home. We've got to have politicians who are willing to shut the border down, that are willing to tell California to go pound salt, that are willing to invest money into the infrastructure of Arizona like when it comes to social issues, whether or not teachers are going to be allowed to teach, your kid to take hormone blockers and all this other nonsense and all this. That's all nonsense, because I don't care if you're a man who thinks you're a woman. If you don't have water to drink, you're screwed.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you're talking about some issues here too. And I've always maintained this, and everybody kind of goes along and thinks, oh, we can work on solving this problem right now. I don't think you can, because basically everything that we're facing right now, in order for people to understand how this works and motivate anybody or any kind of call to action, it's going to have some kind of catastrophic collapse of economic systems, infrastructure systems, and everything else across the board. before people finally decide that this is something to deal with. These infrastructure problems, you can't solve them in a year. Okay, we're talking 5 years to get it figured out, 10 years before you see a result, and what can happen in between that time to make it even worse.
So this kind of brings me to a big circle here. So we're talking about Arizona. We're talking about all these infrastructure things and stuff. And of course, you and I, Dale, have been talking about our HOA and leaderships of people working for us. And it seems so lost. It seems like our leaders are either driven by money, driven by power, driven by either or ego or something like that. Is like, is it going to take like a disaster for us
Yes, it is,
to
because
actually get back on course and get people in the right mind again? I mean,
the last time this country has faced a couple of situations and everything, and that would have been one of them, when it destabilized the U.S. government for a period of time, was obviously the assassination of John Kennedy. And then the 9/11 thing, which really is a drop in the bucket. I think you could have a 9/11 event happen right now. And considering the state that our society is in, both mentally, politically, and financially, it'd have very little effect on it and everything. And so, I think that in order for people to do something, people are going to have to come up to your door and want your food. They're going to, there's not going to be a whole lot of law on the streets, which there isn't now. So you see, we're kind of progressing in these little incremental ways towards this chaos and anarchy that is probably going to happen because, people, well, will I be inconvenienced if we did this? Well, yeah, you would. Well, I don't want to do it. Oh, okay. Then you'll just wait for everything to go completely to shit. That people will be on your door, and grid collapse, it can go on and on and on. And people simply aren't prepared for that. And we've talked about that on this show a lot as to what this time frame is. And I really see this thing starting to tick along pretty fast here in the last month or so, and it's going to accelerate. And there's going to be some hard choices that are going to have to be made. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to come with any kind of civil discourse or anything like that. There's going to be pain all around before people are motivated to do something.
So I know. What are you guys paying for gas up in Oregon right now? It's pretty expensive, I would think.
I don't know. I'm in the town a couple of days, but it was $4.79 for regular, and I believe $5.79 for diesel, and everything. Wow. So yeah, that's pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because people are getting they're getting basically mugged for their gas.
Yep.
And they just caught a guy that here in Arizona that he got caught. I think he stole 10,000 gallons of gasoline.
How do you do that?
Oh, it could be done.
Pull up and fill up and take off, I guess. I don't know how they're
No, you pull up. I delivered fuel into gas stations, and basically you go in there, you pop the locks on those on the tank lids and everything else. You drop a hose down in there with a transfer pump, and you just start pumping and hope something doesn't go bad. You blow yourself completely up, which has happened. But I did that. Oh, back in my day, I've dropped hoses down those tanks, and we had to empty them and everything else. So yeah, with the right equipment, it's done quite easily.
Yeah. So I mean, my point is that we're not far from people waiting outside of grocery stores, right?
No.
To follow you home.
No.
If you walk out of a grocery store and you fill your trunk full of food, people will follow you home. Yeah. And they'll club you and steal your groceries. It's going to happen if it isn't happening already.
I know. It's like I'm not sure why we're not there now, but
yeah. Well, I think we are in spaces and everything else, but it is definitely something that is going to happen. And as this food gets shorter and it gets more expensive, some of the people out here on the ranch, you got to. I figured out it costs me, it's $15, $20 just to drive to town for fuel. Okay. So I think twice about, I combine my trips and everything else like that, and then my son and his kids and family are living here. And, with kids, you make a lot of trips. Sometimes they're making 3 trips a day to town and everything, and that's going to, your gas and stuff like that's going to be 30, 40 bucks a day. And everything, and that's just completely unsustainable, and you think about a lot of people in our area here, Rob. They may work down in Banner, they may work up in Madras or something, 25 miles
like my wife
either
does.
way. yep, 25 miles either way. Just figure out what it costs you.
Yes, Sherry switched over to our teeny tiny Mazda 3, even though we got nicer cars, just to save, to knock down the price of gas, because it adds up, because it's 20 miles from address, so it's a 40-mile drive every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, which is kind of funny, John, is like, as I used to live up here and I was used to driving all the time, then I got the address and everything's 5 minutes away. Just loved it. And so then we came back up here. Oh my gosh, what a shock. It's like everything's 20, 40 hour away.
Unfortunately, if you know where East Mesa is, if you know where the city of Maricopa is, you know where that's at towards Casa Grande.
Yep.
I travel that 3 times a week, and it's costing me over $60 a week in gasoline. And I drive a little Ford, a Ford Fusion that gets 38 miles a gallon. It's absolutely.
I'm getting close to running out of time, but I do have a question for John. And since I'm kind of picking on you because you are, in a sense, in the big city, are you feeling any pressure of saying, I need to get the hell out of here?
Yes.
Yeah,
every day.
I would too. I could. Yeah.
How are you feeling it? I mean,
I'm feeling it because people are, there's no common courtesy anymore. There's no decency anymore. And the people, we're living on top of each other. The roads are full. Everyone's feeling the pinch of this Bidenflation. It's killing us. And, people are starting to lose hope. And so there's just no decency anymore in the human race. And, it's getting more and more, living secluded is becoming something that I think that's why a lot of younger people are doing it. They want out of the rat race. They want to be away from people that are just nasty people. And we're losing this.
For me, I know how you're feeling. It's like I'm looking for community, but I'm not looking for an ant pile.
That's right. They're perfect.
That's it. And you have to think this. Maybe we're going to redefine the definition of community here and everything. Maybe this community becomes more of Dale and Rob up here in Oregon and John down there. Obviously I'd call this a resource community or something, like that and everything. And it's you have these resources, but I'm not a big crowd gathering meeting type of a person at all. And everything. I don't like crowds anymore. I like simpler interactions with decent, law-abiding, God-fearing people and everything like that. And you're not going to get that. And so, my opinion is, if this is going to go to shit, let's just crash it now. Let's get it on, get it over with, and start rebuilding. Okay, there we go.
Hope we have enough 223s.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if they want to come up my hill, that's their choice. I can't guarantee what happens.
So, guys, we're getting towards the end of the show here, and John, it's always a pleasure to have you on our show.
Good talking to you, John.
Dale's kind of a regular now, so he's just just on the show now. But John
is the co-host, the official co-host.
And you always, any kind of show we do, I have 100 questions of what it's like in Arizona right now. And so we'd love to have you back on again anytime you like to. You're always welcome here. And if we know in advance a little bit, we'll kind of change our title a little bit, and we get it so we can ask you some really good questions about Arizona. I think it'd be very informative. So anyway, with that note, guys, we got to get going. So I want to say goodbye to everybody and thank everybody for being on the board. Stay on after we get off. And anyway, so guys, thanks for watching us. We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.